Hey YouTube, Ryu here. Um, just going ahead, releasing another video. Uh, this is just going to be a full ramble video. Not really too much planned for it. I'll come up with the title of it after I go ahead and rewatch through it. But I was talking about how randomness in enemies is a good thing, and so on and so forth in video games. Um, I ended up showing the video to a couple of my friends, asked their opinion, if I was on the mark, so on and so forth. Well, when I went ahead and did that, they brought up a few good points where, some games, well, what about speedrunners and so on and so forth. And that actually got me thinking about it, because I'm all like, okay, you know what, I'm not a speedrunner, so I didn't consider that. But then I thought about a lot of the first-person shooters and how a lot of them are geared towards the esport community. They're trying to get into that esport action. And same thing with MOBAs. It's just like, now, MOBAs are unique in and of themselves. I don't actually have any problems with MOBAs. I'm not a big fan of them, but I can see the appeal. But the thing is I'm sitting there, I'm all like, okay, having your target demographic is a good thing. But I've noticed that a lot of these target demographics tend to be people that have a lot of time to invest. In fact, make a career out of gaming. And why are these companies pandering so hard to these individuals? Well, it's a simple fact of, well, when people see these people playing and pulling off these amazing things, which, here's a little secret, I'm not gonna diss them on their skills, because a lot of them are very skilled, but when you're not playing in hardcore mode in a professional tournament, you lose a little bit of cred. And you can tell whenever people aren't playing in hardcore mode in these games, because they're able to sit there and take half of a clip of ammunition straight to the chest and keep on trucking. In hardcore mode, no, you're dropped at that point, unless someone's shooting at you with a pistol, at which point, even in hardcore mode, a pistol is still going to take the majority of its clip to take you down. Which, that bugs me in and of itself. I will make a separate video addressing weapon balancing in games, because that's a issue and a rant all on its own. But I want to go ahead and address these demographics. And one of the reasons why I think that gaming companies just really can't get out of the rut. First, let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of the people that are in charge of these gaming companies don't play video games. They have no clue what they're doing. They're having to take other people's word for it. But instead of looking towards gamers, the general populace, they're looking at focus groups of people that say, oh yeah, I'm a hardcore gamer, I'm a hardcore gamer. Well, that's a problem in and of itself. If someone's sitting there and is self-proclaiming that they're a hardcore gamer, usually they're not a hardcore gamer. I mean, in the gaming world, a lot of us who have been in it for a long time, if someone says they're a hardcore gamer, the first question that should come out of your mouth in response to that is, oh yeah, what games do you play? And it's not going after quality of games, it's going after how many different game types do you play? Do you play real-time strategy games? Do you play First-person shooters? Do you play third-person shooters? Do you play tactical shooters? Do you play MMOs? Do you play MOBAs? Do you play this, that, or the other? And I'm so sick and tired of the argument of, oh, well, they're not a real gamer. You know, people who sit there and play mobile games. There are a lot of fun mobile games out there. And I've been in the gaming community for a long, long time. Since I was young, since before a lot of these other gamers were even born. So I have a little bit of cred as far as that goes. I have a long list of games that I've played through. Did I necessarily master each of those games? Probably not. In fact, I've mastered very few games. But the thing is I'm decent at it. I mean, if someone sits there and goes, oh, well, what's your KD ratio on Call of Duty? It's all like I can tell you what it was back when I played it. Before it became so cookie cutter and contrived that I just stopped enjoying the game. Before the community became so toxic that I can't stand it anymore. I mean, you had the same thing with Halo. Back in the day, me, my cousin, and my best friend's roommate, we would get together and we would just throw down on Halo. And I'm talking about the original Halo. On the original Xbox. We would sit there and have binge gaming nights. Where it would just be Halo match after Halo match after Halo match. And a few other things. You know, we were young, we were stupid. So, we did a few things that we shouldn't. But the thing is when I sit there and I, you know, look at what comprises these focus groups and so on and so forth, you know, a lot of people joke around, you know, oh, well, you know, these focus groups are all prepubescent teenage boys. And sadly, it's not all that much of a joke. A lot of the time they have focus groups that are comprised that way, that are comprised of a certain demographic. So, like, if that's going to be your target demographic, fine, but don't sit there and try to say, oh, well, this will appeal to everyone. Don't do that. At that point, you need to have a very large focus group full of a wide diversity of people from different types of backgrounds, all the way from the hardcore, get good, elite gamer, all the way down to the person who's just getting into gaming. You know, don't sit there and tell people that your game was made with everyone in mind when you only got a certain subsection of people. It's disingenuous, and it's actually just an outright lie. If you have a certain demographic that you're going after, then go after that demographic. Say, hey, look, here's the demographic that we believe that this is going to be popular with. Here's our target demographic. If other people end up enjoying it, awesome, sweet. Now, that would make sense to people who actually know what the fuck they're doing. And who have actually some modicum of, you know, self-awareness. But we're talking about big gaming companies here, headed by people that are well outside of the gaming sphere, that are sitting there and just wanting to make as much money as possible. And I mean, I don't see a real problem with them wanting to make as much money as possible. I mean, you know, they are companies. Yeah, they're supposed to make money. But the thing is being a business, the way that you make money is you keep your customers happy, not placated. And that's the reason why a lot of these indie developers are starting to slowly, you know, slowly starting to rip these customers away. I mean, you got certain games that are gonna be popular pretty much no matter what, because of, you know, what people sit there and call the dude bro culture, you know, whatnot, you know, whatever insulting little thing that they want to throw out there. But those games are few and far in between, and those are also mainstream games. And what's the thing that sets them apart? It sure as hell isn't quality. I mean, especially not lately. I mean, just look at Mass Effect Andromeda, you know? I mean, it wasn't a bad game. Not horrible. Were there some graphical problems with the face animations? Yes, there were. I found them mostly funny. I mean, hell, so a lot of the people that were there, you know, it's like, hey, it looks like this person's perpetually needing to take a dump. But, you know, the soundtrack was good. The gameplay, again, was good. I mean, was there room for improvement? Yes, but there's always room for improvement in any game. So I'm not going to really bitch and complain too much about that. But the problem with that game was it honestly felt like late in beta testing stage as far as glitches were concerned. When I was sitting there and playing it, I had so many glitches. There were so many times I fell through the floor. Now, I don't know if I'm just, like, if the way that I game is too chaotic for these people to predict. But if that's the case, then we got a whole new set of problems that need to be addressed when it comes to the developers. But it definitely felt like Andromeda was rushed. Now, when people decide to go ahead and fanboy for these games, they're actually hurting the industry as a whole. And it's not just the people that are fanboying, it's also the anti-fanboy. For those who don't know what that is it's someone who hates on a game just because there are fanboys and they're just trying to get a rise out of the fanboys. You know, they're just trying to piss people off. You know, they're basically a very specialized version of a troll. Now, those people also hurt the industry, but they all hurt the industry in separate ways. But there is one common thread in which they actually hurt the gaming community, both as far as the developers are concerned and as far as other gamers are concerned. And that common thread is they skew what the gaming public in general actually wants out of its games. I mean, if there's there's people that sit there and go, oh yeah, it's Call of Duty, 10 out of 10, and they've never played it. They're waiting for the day one patch to finish downloading, or they're waiting for the game to finish downloading so it can download the day one patch. But they go out and they give it a 10 out of 10 anyway, because it's their precious Call of Duty. And now we're seeing something similar with Andromeda. You know, people sitting there actively saying, I haven't played the game yet, but I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 on Metacritic. Those aren't getting deleted out. Oh, no. Those aren't getting deleted out. Which ones are? Oh, the anti-fanboys. They're the ones getting deleted out. Any negative reviews. In fact, I posted a review on Metacritic where I gave the game a 4 out of 10. Right? I was going to go back and change it to a 2 out of 10 after I had played it for a little bit longer, going, you know what? I jumped the gun on giving it such a high score. Because a AAA company putting out such a bug-riddled game shouldn't be acceptable. I mean, yeah, they have patches to fix major issues that slip through the cracks, But they're now using that as a crutch for them to go ahead and release incomplete games. Games that haven't gone through all the quality testing that they needed to go through. I mean, figure it this way. If you went ahead and you ordered a computer from, from some online site, and the computer got there, you booted it up, but the computer, also came with an antivirus and so on and so forth, but it had a brand new virus pre-installed on it. And no, I'm not talking about Windows 10, although, let's be honest, it acts a lot like a virus. If you go ahead and have that situation, and you call them and go, hey, what the hell? And they say, oh, don't worry. All you have to do is update your antivirus, and it'll go ahead and get rid of it. You're not going to trust that company again. Hell, you might even return the product. But, oh, wait. Video game companies have it where you can't return their product unless you buy it from somewhere like Steam. And there are even some developers that are being worthless piles of shit, trying to sit there and circumvent that. Trying to say, you won't ever be refunded under any circumstances your money. No, that's not how it works. If you're selling your game in a system that says, hey, if you want a refund, we will go ahead and refund it to you, given these parameters, you're not allowed in your ULA to go ahead and circumvent that. You're not allowed to do that. The ULA has actually lost a lot of its power, because the thing is expecting someone to go through and read all of that legal jargon and actually make sense of it. But no, you're expecting a little bit much there. Now, you can go ahead and have, all the stuff in there, but it's more of a, hey, you've been warned thing. This is what will happen. Usually it's just a retread of copyright law, trademark law, so on and so forth. But you're not allowed to circumvent policies of the console that you're selling your game on. That's the thing that a lot of these developers have actually understood, but they haven't had to deal with. Well, now they're having to deal with it because consumers are tired of getting the shaft. So here we are in a situation where now a precedent has been set for refunds. I mean, yeah, it's a very limited thing, but technically someone could go ahead and make a game where it takes 2 hours just to get through the intro of the game. Maybe have some gameplay in there, so on and so forth, just to keep people playing. And then as soon as that 2 hours happens, all of a sudden it go down to like beta test, where it's unplayable, where it even crashes your computer and there's nothing someone can do. Now, if a company does that, well, they're going to go out of business right quick and in a hurry. Hello, Ramiro Brothers. You're going to have a lot of these issues that are going to pop up. But the problem is when these companies are going out and putting out these games that are focus tested and so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. With all of this low quality shit, they're taking up space in people's budgets and hard drives, technically. uh, that could be utilized by games that are actually complete, or at least are open about being in an open beta, where they say, yes, there's going to be bugs, let us know and we'll fix it. And the question that I have to ask people is why do you still buy these same games when they have the same launch issues over and over and over again? I mean, we all knew with SimCity, or Sim Cities, I don't remember the actual name of it, but we all knew what was coming. I didn't buy the game because as soon as they said, oh, it takes an always online connection, I was like, yep, nope, no, not for a single player game. Same thing happened with Diablo 3. Nope, I didn't even buy it. But there were a lot of people that went out, pre-ordered the games, downloaded it, expected to hop on and there be no issues. And then when there were issues, they started boo-hooing about it. That's the reason why you shouldn't give these companies money up front. You shouldn't pledge to their product. You shouldn't pledge any loyalty to them. They're not going to be loyal to you. They want to milk as much money out of you as they possibly can. And they're constantly conniving, they're constantly scheming to do so. Like me, my favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VII, finally got a remake. I'm not playing it. You know why? Because of the pure and simple fact that I am not going to buy a game that's being sold to me piecemeal. Not unless they're going to sit there and say, all right, there's 4 chapters in this. We're going to release the first chapter so that way you don't have to wait as long. And then you can buy the next chapter. And each of those chapters, if I was to buy all of them at the end, like from start to finish, come out to the same price as a typical AAA game. But that's not what we're seeing here. What we're seeing is them sitting there and going, oh yeah, it's going to be multiple chapters. You have to buy each chapter. And then charging anywhere from $20 to $40. It's like, wait, what? I mean, hell, even Telltale Games doesn't do that. They realize that episodic releases means lowered price. Because people aren't buying your completed game at that point. You don't get to charge the completed game price for only part of the game and get to charge it over and over and over again when you decide to release new parts. Now, expansions are a different thing to a degree. To a degree. Because there's one element to it that causes a massive issue. You saw it with Destiny. And the thing is the fact that it was Bungie that did that breaks my heart. Being such a long-time Halo fan, being such a fan of Bungie in general. Seeing them get out from under Microsoft was awesome. But then I saw them crawl right in with Activision. But because I trusted them, because I trusted Bungie, I decided to go against what I typically do and wait for a game, wait for the reviews, watch maybe a couple of Let's Plays, especially spoiler-free ones, that just show the gameplay. But no. I didn't do that. I pre-ordered it. Not only did I pre-order it, I pre-ordered the collector's edition because it came with the season pass. I'm all like, well, you know, they're going to go ahead and they're going to have some pretty good shit in there. So I played through all the expansions for the season passes. What ended up happening? Mediocre storyline that you could tell was hacked apart. I mean, as I was playing through, I'm all like, this is nothing like what they were showing. What the hell happened? And then I saw the lineup for the expansions. I knew what happened. So after the season passed, when the next expansion came out, I stopped playing. I wasn't going to continue to sink money in to a piecemeal game. And it was my fault for pre-ordering, for letting myself get caught up in that hype. Now, I didn't pre-order No Man's Sky, but I did end up buying it because from what I was seeing, it was pretty cool. You know, people were giving glowing reviews, so on and so forth. Well, I ended up being extremely disappointed with the game. I actually contacted Sony and I was like, look, this game is not functional because it had crashed several times during a warp sequence. There's no excuse for that. The game was also misrepresented. And, you know, there are people that are going, oh, they didn't misrepresent it. They never promised anything. Except for the fact that the head of the company did promise more than a few things. Flat out Molyneux style. And I got pissed off at Molyneux with the Fable series. When he would sit there and say, oh, this is going to be in the game, 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 and none of it was in the game. Not even an inkling of it. These companies need to be taken to task. And that's whether they're releasing a game in a buggy, broken state. You know? For example, Battlefield. When was the last time you saw a Battlefield launch in a truly playable state? Where the netcode was actually shored up, where they were actually able to provide the service. Because when I play Battlefield, I don't play for the story. I go straight into the multiplayer. Come on. But with Destiny, and especially now that the person who ended up finally having the non-disclosure agreement expire, when they came forward and said, no, this was the storyline that I played. You know, this is the reason why I said, yes, this is good. It was a completely different game from what they released. It was hacked to bits. And you didn't even get that full game experience in the game after the expansions were released. And I don't understand why these companies do this. If you're planning on cutting something out to make expansions, well, for one, you're slimy as shit. But two, don't sit there and say, oh yeah, this is part of the game. Because it's not. It's part of the fucking expansion. And I cannot wait until someone with enough money to take on one of these large conglomerates actually goes out and takes them to task in court. Because we go after everyone else for false advertisement. But for some odd reason, these video game companies, these video game series, the developers, whatever, whatnot, they're untouchable. No, you don't do that. That right there just leads to the worsening of the problem. Not even just the continuation of it, the worsening of it. Because they will push and push and push until they actually get some pushback, and then they'll back off, just like a bully. And quite frankly, I'm done being bullied. If it comes down to it, I won't buy another game. I'll only buy from indie developers that actually show the proper respect to their customers. It's basic customer service 101. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to end the video here. I've rambled on long enough, but hopefully, you know, if someone watches this, you know, give me some feedback. Am I being overly harsh on these companies? Am I expecting too much from them? You know, I mean, like, let's be honest here. But if you think that I am being overly harsh, make your case. Don't just say, yeah, you're being overly harsh, you're a piece of shit. Because I'm not going to take you seriously at that point. I'm not even going to bother responding to you. You need to defend your position. I've defended mine. I'm not sitting there and saying, oh, these developers should have to make these games for free and we should be able to pay them only what we want. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we're entitled to anything other than basic consumer respect that you would expect at a restaurant, at a medical facility, anywhere else. There's a certain level of respect. There's certain things that you do not do as a service provider. And these companies have been ticking off mark after mark after mark of things not to do. And here they are doing it with a scary frequency. I mean, honestly, it's gotten ridiculous. I don't understand where people are defending this behavior, but maybe I'm missing something. So go ahead, let me know in the comments. You know, make your case. I'll actually go ahead and read through, if I have the time to go ahead and read through, and I'll even respond. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a video response to it. Who knows? Maybe you'll even be able to sway me on it. I'm not above saying that I'm wrong if I'm actually convinced that I'm wrong. Looking forward to hearing from people. Hope to get some responses and get some people actually having a discussion instead of it just being people throwing insults at each other, because that's getting really old really fast.